Hello, UFL fans, spring football fans. Well, week 9 is officially over. As you can see, I am still by the Jersey Shore. Today's Memorial Day. Let's talk about observations of week 9. Number 1, I don't care what anyone says, even though Birmingham lost, they are still the best team. San Antonio played a heck of a game. They're 8-2. I still think Birmingham is the best team. In fact, let's go do our rankings. Birmingham 1, I'm going to put San Antonio 2, Michigan 3, St. Louis 4, DC 5, Arlington 6, Houston 7, Practice Squad Team 9, 8th, and the Memphis Showboat 9th. Sorry, I'm going to go there. 2. Second thing I noticed, Chase Garbers being back was a great thing for the San Antonio Bombers. Next week, you got a big game against St. Louis. I'm looking forward to that matchup between him and AJ McCarron. Hopefully, they both be back. The league needs them both in that conference championship game. 3, Michigan. Keep Bryce Perkins as your quarterback. I don't care. Who cares about loyalty? He is your best option. There is nothing that makes you go, think, wow, E.J. Perry or Danny Etling. There isn't. Sorry. So Bryce Perkins needs to be the starting quarterback from here on, unless there's an injury. 4, the weather in the outdoor cities. Saturday, it was, I think, 84 in Arlington with humidity about 90%, which made it feel like it was in the 90s. Yesterday in Houston, the temperature was 89 and humidity made it feel like it was over 100 degrees. Now, where am I going with this? The league is already talking about a starting date of either March 1st or March 29th next year. And they have been watching, and they're listening to fans. If they have those 2 dates set in mind, please start the league on March 1st. Because not only do the players hate playing that heat, and so do the coaches. You know who else hates it? The fans having to sit in the stands. I mean, listen, they're willing to do it for college football in the beginning of the year, but it's only a couple of weeks. They'll do it in some of the higher points of the NFL because it's the NFL. We're not there yet. And if you don't like empty stadiums, forget about having March 29th as your starting date next year. You need to make it March 1st. Because at that rate, the UFL season will end before Memorial Day weekend, which I think it should. And in fact, it would probably land the week between Mother's Day and Memorial Day, and I think that'd be the perfect way to end it. If that's what you're insisting on. I don't think having games on Father's Day, Mother's Day, Memorial Day weekend, and Easter weekend is a real good idea. But I understand you gotta compete against something, but at least minimize it. March 1st, the March Madness doesn't begin for another 2 to 3 weeks. So, there's no reason why you shouldn't make it March 1st. If I had it my way, I'd make it the week after the Super Bowl, which would be probably about March 16th next year. That way, the UFL season would end the weekend before Mother's Day. Now, I understand that the NFL is talking about making a week 18 and get rid of a preseason game and making President's Day weekend the Super Bowl. If that's the case, then start the week 4 right after the NFL season. Because those sites down south, when you get into May, late April, May and June, it begins to become an issue. Which brings me to my next point. The scheduled games, they have Birmingham and Michigan playing at Protective Stadium on Saturday, June 8th. at 2 p.m. Central Time. They have San Antonio and St. Louis playing in either dome on the primetime game on Sunday night. Now, based on what I said, why would you not make the Birmingham game the primetime game? Now, listen, I understand it's going to be high anyway, but a 6 o'clock start time and having the game after the sun goes down makes a big difference as opposed to having them play at the hottest point of the day. I don't get this. Not to mention, Birmingham is a 2-time defending champion. But whatever. I'm just a fan. Let's see. Another thing I noticed, observation, is that the regional action this week again didn't hurt us. The first time was because we had the hour-and-a-half T-storm in Birmingham, and they went to another game, so that didn't really hurt us. The second time was one game was totally blown out, and they went to the other game, which is pretty good. And yesterday, both games, for the most part, meant nothing. Another thing, as it is, we could have had 2 meaningful games on Saturday, with the 2 games on Sunday being crap. But because of the stadium situation and that Michigan has no chance of playing at Ford Field, even though they can't be the number 1 seed this weekend, I think depending on tiebreakers. That Birmingham Michigan game is pretty much going to mean nothing because the games that protect the stadium anyway. And this is a disaster for the league. You had a chance to have 2 back-to-back games that meant something. Home field for the number 1 seed. Now, even if Michigan does get the home field advantage because Ford Field's not available, the game's up in Birmingham. It's embarrassing for the league. Could you at least move the game to East Lansing or Ann Arbor for that game? I don't care. But man, to have a home game about 1,200 miles away is absolutely ridiculous. And it takes away from that game this Saturday. It does, I'm sorry. So, those are some of the observations. I'm trying to think what else. Oh, A.J. McCarron. All right, St. Louis lost a game against Arlington. And those 2 teams have played 2 good games this year. But you see how important A.J. McCarron is to the Battlehawks and to the league. And for the good of the league, you want St. Louis to win against San Antonio because you want, if we're going to have a game of prime time, you want a good atmosphere. And St. Louis will provide it. And I'm sorry, after finding only 11,800 people yesterday at that Birmingham game, when you had an undefeated Stallions team coming in knowing you're going to playoffs and you can only bring in 11-8. I'm sorry. We have an issue with attendance. I don't trust San Antonio to give us a good atmosphere. St. Louis will be a better atmosphere game. I'm sorry. And I like the fans of San Antonio because the ones that do go to the game are really into it. We just need more of them. And with an 8-2 record and coming off a big win against Birmingham and playing them, there should have been more. So A.J. McCarron, you could say, although he may not be the most viable player of the league, let me get on Adrian Martinez. For the sake of the next few weeks, he is the most important player in the game because St. Louis is a different team than him. We saw what Manny Wilkins did in the 4th quarter yesterday. The Battlehawks only had 3 interceptions the entire year, and Manny Wilkins threw 3 interceptions in the 4th quarter on 3 straight possessions, and it pretty much killed St. Louis' chances of winning that game. Now, because San Antonio did win that game yesterday, this game was going to mean something on Week 10 anyway, so. Week 10, you have one meaningful game, unfortunately. San Antonio and St. Louis. Oh, I was looking forward to that doubleheader on Saturday. And as far as Sunday goes, you have Arlington finisher on the road against my DC Defenders. I would like to stick it to them because I still haven't forgotten about last year. And of course, then we end a primetime game against 1-8 Memphis and 1-8 Houston. Hey, as they say, sometimes it just bees like that. So, what else can we talk about? Oh, let's talk about the attendance. 6,500, I think it was, in Memphis. 6,800 in Houston. Thank God they're going back to TD-ECU Stadium next year. Arlington had about 8,400, I think, and San Antonio did 11,800. I'm impressed the way the ratings have been, which is a good sign for the league. I just don't get the attendance on some of these places now. As far as the 1-8 teams go, yeah, your team sucks. And it's bully hot outside, and this is the time of year where school's out for most of those people down here, and you have better and more fun things to do than go watch a terrible football team. Same thing in Arlington, even though they do play good football. But for Birmingham and San Antonio, that has been a head scratcher. Now, I know it gets hot in Birmingham. They do get some storms. But you're the two-time defending champion. And you're on a historic season to win a third one. The Birmingham Iron did better numbers, if I remember right. And the Commanders did better in the AAF, even though the AAF didn't advertise or market much. I'm hoping that next year, since the league is already advertising, telling us what's going to happen next year, that this will bring more people to want to commit to season tickets or even individual game tickets. And they better give us a schedule early. And the snafu with Ford Field that we're having this week, the playoff spot, they have to avoid that because, listen, I get it. There was a merger. The government took its time. The government ruins everything, as we know. It's something you had to deal with, but we have to avoid those snafus next year. So, let me know what you think. Observations of week 9. What do you think about the upcoming week 10? For the love of football, we will talk to you later.